Oh, there, I found it. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
EPM.
Thank you all for taking the time to make it. I would like to apologize for the relatively short notice. I'm told that the meeting was on the Z list for Wednesday. So if you didn't read it, it's really your fault, as it is mine. But we will, in future, try harder to give you better notice. So not only the Z list, but also on the WhatsApp group. Mr. Gweber, can we do that? Thank you. At least a week in advance, so that people can make proper arrangements for their flights, and so that Nico doesn't get all upset about changing his flights. We won't be long today. We don't need to take any major decisions. We're going to just briefly be taken through the legacy report of the last Parliament, the sixth Parliament. Mr. Pamela will take us through it, and I don't think that it will be a long meeting, so hopefully you will all be out of here way before lunchtime. Mr. Sibande was a few minutes late. There was a transport issue. I'm sure that we'll sort that out before the next meeting. Okay, Mr. Pamela. Mr. Gweber.
Good morning, honorable members, colleagues. My name is Pilot. I'm the committee secretary. I'll be brief on the role and mandate of our committee. Basically, we draw our mandate from the Constitution, Section 45(1)(c). It mandates the committee every year to invite the public to make submissions on any matters that they feel in the Constitution they need to be amended. So how we go about it, we publicize in print media, in radios. Sometimes, if budget allows, there is budget. We advertise. We give people 30 days until the end of May. From the 1st of May until the end of May, we'll be collecting the submissions from the public on any issues. Then, once that is done, we sit as the secretariat. We combine everything. We submit. We give members the actual copies of the submissions, and then the content advisor will also sit and categorize them according to the level of importance, and then the committee will be briefed by the content advisor on the submissions, and then deliberations will be taken. The committee decides on the importance, and then the committee is not obliged. It can discard others. It can also decide to call the individual submitters to come and maybe substantiate on their submissions. And then if the committee still feels that there is a need for further clarity, we do request the legal services to give us the legal opinions on the subject matters, and sometimes even we request external legal opinion. And then the committee, after everything has been done, the committee then recommends to the House and to the Council on the desirability. So we recommend on desirability, say, having received the submissions for year 2024 or 2025, the committee feels it is indeed desirable to amend the Constitution, this section of the Constitution, to give effect to whatever the submitter would have desired. Then it's up to the House to adopt that report, and then the House will refer the actual submission to the relevant portfolio committee, so for example, if it's a matter that affects the health portfolio, that amendment, that constitutional amendment may be referred to the portfolio committee on education or health or whatever it is, and then the process unfolds thereafter in terms of what schedule is being amended. So you will realize that this year, because it was an election year, during the time of advertising, there was no committee that was in place. So on an election year, there is no call for public submissions. So that is where I will, and unless if there are questions, maybe questions of clarity regarding our role and mandate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gweber. Are there any questions, members? Sir? course, you're welcome to ask questions. I'm sorry, sir, just a moment. There appears to be a problem with the recording. Your mic, you must switch it on. Yes, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to go through the legacy report. So we'll see what was dealt with and what has been rolled over. Thank you. Sir?
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to our co-chairs and members and administration. My name is Mkolis Kaunda from the NCOP. I just want to inquire if maybe the previous committee or this committee may venture into a public awareness campaign so that we don't sit here in Parliament and expect submissions whilst the general public is not aware on the expectations that we have. And it should not only be the organized bodies like business and other organized bodies, but even ordinary members of the public must be aware on how to process such submissions. So what kind of awareness program are we expected to conduct as a committee? Thank you, Chair.
I'm sure Mr. Gwebu will add to this, but I've been on this committee for 10 years, and we get many submissions, and also from many members of the public. So the advertising campaign is quite wide. It reaches a lot of people, and there's never been a shortage of submissions, also from just ordinary citizens. So they clearly are aware of it, but Mr. Gwebu, can you help us with the totality of the awareness campaign?
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Mr. Sibande wants to speak.
Yes. Before that, you know what am I going to propose? I think this question which we have asked is very, very relevant, but let us allow the process for them to give the presentation, and then so that after this presentation and then start to ask, to respond to such questions. Thank you.
Okay. So, Chair, from our side, as the honourable member had already asked, there were some issues that were left hanging that were not finalized due to some pressures of the committee. So what my colleague is going to take us through is those issues that were left outstanding by the 6th Parliament. So it will be up to this committee to decide whether it will pursue them or it will make a decision or it will note them and deal with its own submissions when the time of opening arises. But perhaps maybe if I were to add just a little bit on the publicity, some, like the Honourable Chair had said, we do advertise in mainstream media, but sometimes we had a problem. For example, in the very last submission, we received only one, if not two submissions. That was way far below what we normally get. Part of the reason, the presiding officers, they say the House Chairperson, can decide that when we apply to advertise on Sunday Times, which has a wider coverage, sometimes they can give us an instruction to say, we allow you, because of budget issues, we allow you to advertise on City Press, and you'll find that City Press doesn't have a wider coverage. But we do advertise in all 11 languages that we have. Maybe it's 12 now, because this committee amended the Constitution. The last amendment of the Constitution was the addition of the sign language. So we advertise in all 11 languages, and then people submit. But usually we get a lot of submissions when we advertise via Mail and Guardian and Sunday Times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gwebu. Perhaps we can give some thought to advertising on social media. That reaches a lot of people. We'll give it some thought, and then we'll come back to the committee with suggestions. And if you have suggestions, please make them as well. Thank you. Shall we proceed with the legacy report? Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members of the committee. My name is Sisanda Sipamla. I am the committee's content advisor. And not to repeat what my colleague has already briefed the members on, as the procedural advisor, he was just merely taking you through the mandate of the committee from the Constitution and the joint rules of Parliament that are applicable. I myself will take you through the leftover matters that have now been carried
And 5 years will go by, and we'll leave a legacy report like this.
Sure.
So we don't want to do that. We want to, in fact, get some work done. Michalakis?
Thank you, Chair. No, I wanted to say that not having a quorum does only mean that we can't make decisions. It does not bar us from having discussions and taking it forward. If the members who are not at this meeting are then upset that they couldn't have an input in this discussion, well, then they should have come to the committee. The only thing that prevents us from or that we are prevented to do today is to make a discussion. Is to make a decision. But a discussion is absolutely possible for us, and I think we should have those discussions so that we can move forward. We already had a delay in setting up the joint committees as well. So we at the end of the first year, let's move forward, please.
Thank you, Mr. Michalakis.
I'm covered by the honour. I wanted to refer to Joint Rule 27.1. It says, a joint committee may proceed with business irrespective of the number of members present. It's only when there is a decision that we need sufficient number, which is we're at 25, including NA component and NCOP. So then that means we need about 12 members. There are about 8, if I counted correct. We need about 12 to be able to take a decision. Thank you.
Peter? Thank you, sir. Okay, members, shall we have a look at the first submission by Sake Licha? Does anybody have any views on that? Mr. Coe?
Thank you, Chair. If I can check, Chair, do we have any legal advisor, or we trust you with your legal competence on the matters? Because I think when we take such a swifting process, a legal advisor should be with us here to advise if really there are matters that will need to be moving towards a certain direction.
Mr. Kondo, no, I don't think that we can have a legal advisor. There's no legal advisor permanently appointed to this committee. The members here are all members of Parliament. You represent constituencies, as you've already mentioned, and we must take decisions by ourselves. If we feel that there's a legal issue that needs to be clarified, that we are unable to clarify amongst ourselves, then we will ask for a legal opinion. But the legal advisors serve all the committees of Parliament, and there isn't one specific one that can sit here and advise us every time we have a meeting. So we must take decisions based on our knowledge. We're all members of Parliament. We all have a lot of experience with these issues, and I'm sure that between ourselves we can decide what needs to be dealt with and what not. When there's doubt, we will certainly get legal advice. As far as my own legal expertise goes, you'd be well advised to trust me.
Colleagues, let us do this now. I propose by approaching this matter like this. I was listening from the content advisor when he was guiding us, from both the secretary, both of you, about the procedures in terms of the procedure, how to take this matter. For an example, this thing, when they arrive as submissions, and then as submissions, they need a legal opinion. Yes, we must take decisions, it's correct. But there are things which they need legal opinion in that context, so that they can guide us exactly that what is necessary, what is supposed to be, what are the urgent matters, and some of the matters where they belong, to classify them as well. Whether they do belong to this committee, where they have been addressed somewhere, somehow. That's what I've thought. That's why, therefore, earlier on, I've made a recommendation that why don't we, because we have touched up some synopsis or some of the indication that where are we going to, that let's ask the two people, the content advisor and the secretary, that maybe to guide us now from this we're going to here. Not to say that they are taking for us decision as part of the way forward, how to take this matter forward. That's what I've thought. Mr.
Peter?
Thank you, Chair. I think I want to support Chair Sibande when he suggests that maybe because today we intended to have this introductory meeting, which was used as an induction to us who are new in the committee, that we are now having an understanding of what is expected of us. But let us be given an opportunity that in the next meeting is where we'll come back and talk on these issues and the swifting, because swifting on its own, by its nature, is a decision making. So maybe let's make sure that we meet in the next meeting, then we take a decision whether we consider this matter, we don't consider this matter. So for today, I think it has served its purpose that we meet in this introductory meeting, understanding legacy work, a report that the sixth administration have done. From there, we can take other matters in the next meeting. But Chair, we can't tolerate a situation where it will be adopted as if it's a correct approach that members decide to absent themselves from the meetings, where we even take decision that no, let's just have deliberations, but we can't take decision. So parties must view this committee as one of the critical committees. So if members are not attending, they must be removed. So it's simply and straightforward. I'm sure if we are all serious about what we are here to do as parliamentarians, you can't just absent yourself without any reasons. There should be a reason why you are not in a meeting. And if you are not in a meeting, you apologize, and it depends to us whether we accept that apology or not. So I suggest, Chair, that maybe for today's purposes, let us just deal with what we have dealt with. Then in the next meeting, then we can go on and take decisions whether the matters will be considered or not.
Mr. Peter? Thank you, Mr. Peter. Mr. Michalakis, Ms. Abrams, and then yourself.
Thank you, Chair. There exists an ideal world where if members don't attend, we can just take them off the, the list. I wish that was possible, but unfortunately that's not the case. Chairperson, and I don't for one moment think it was deliberately implied, but the implication of what was indicated with respect is that members of parliament can only make decisions when we receive advice. Now, we're not all lawyers. But we are lawmakers, and we need to have, without legal advice, some basic understanding of what the laws and the implications are in the country without that specific legal advice. So I do think that there is, although sometimes matters arise where we need specialist advice, I do think there needs to be a basic minimum level where we do the work in this specific committee, which only focuses on lawmaking, without such a crutch the whole time. I don't think as members of parliament we would be showing our competence if we rely on other people thinking for us the whole time. I'm again saying I don't think that was implied in the comment, or that was deliberate in the comment, but I do think the implication of that is a bit problematic. The third thing I want to point out is that the next meeting is in 2025, and most likely the end of January, beginning February. And what we are considering over here, if I read the first line, is this table notes input from the public hearings held on 17 and 31 March 2023. So we are now 2 years down the line, which I was in a meeting 2 days ago of the strategy planning of Parliament, where they indicated the trust of the public in Parliament itself, which has plummeted. And most certainly things like this does very little to restore the trust in Parliament at all. So if we want to make our contribution, I think that we need to apply our minds firstly, which we're competent to do, and secondly, get done with it as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, co-chairs. Just for record purposes, my name is Nicola Duplessis. I tend to agree that a discussion needs to be had, also in preparation for next year, so that that things and matters go smoother in next committees. I mean, an example would be the first question or the first submission from the Sakelige. Would that not be a Concord issue rather than a constitutional issue? And those conversations we can have amongst ourselves here with the advice of people who have heard, and also, for example, the actual budget implications of local government, public participation in those matters. So I do move that I'd like to suggest that we have this discussion. Also, many of us moved our flights out, so I'd like to actually do something if that, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I suspect that those members who want to finalise this meeting now have booked early flights, and and that the others have later flights. But I'm very aware of the fact that members change flights to be here, and I do think we should use the time productively.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to mention also that obviously we, like you earlier mentioned, we need to be productive. We cannot just keep coming back in or having a quorum. Clearly, there's a need for some of our committee members to have a legal opinion. Now, the content advisor already indicated there is legal opinions on every single one of these matters. Now, I would suggest, Chair, maybe for the sake of moving forward and just to get some direction here, is if that legal opinion can be emailed to all the committee members. So, in our next meeting, everyone can be well prepared. They can go through the legal opinion and satisfy themselves with the opinion of those departments. And then, with that being said, we can then indicate or make a recommendation in this meeting that in our first meeting of next year, we will be classifying every single one of these cases. That's just a recommendation from me. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. I think the majority view is that we proceed. Are you in a position to advise us?
No. Sorry.
Mr. Sibande, want to say something?
Sorry, Chairperson, let's do this now. I wanted you to make an appeal because there was an initially proposal by Mr. Kaunda, which was supported by Mr. Peter, about how to approach this matter at the moment. My appeal also, the member next to you, the honourable member, yes, you raise some of the issues which are supposed to be taken care of. Like you were correcting something that you can't just, for example, we can't just take an anonymous decision that if the member doesn't participate, then it's out of the meeting. Remember, we're from the different parties as we're here in Parliament. And if we make a mistake, like we must give a benefit of the doubt to some of the parties as well, for a start, because this is our first meeting for a start. Let us give a benefit of a doubt that we make sure that, like as I proposed earlier on, and which was supported by the other people, that how to take this matter. And it doesn't mean that, correctly so, that if we are saying that we in procedures we need an opinion, I'm not responding to your question, but it doesn't mean exactly that we need, as we said, we indicated that about when I was raising the issue of the legal opinion. Yes, as members of Parliament, we do have rights to take decisions because our responsibility, that is our line function. But as for today's meeting, I was appealing that let's give a benefit of a doubt that maybe in the next meeting it will be much improved like this. Because when we start with the wrong 15, we are going to be defeated at the end. We are going to be defeated. I thought that because there was a proposal and a wish was supported, I thought we were on the right direction on that one.
Mr. Michalakis?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I absolutely, well, the part that I recall of what the co-chair said now was the part that he made a proposal and that it was supported. Some of the rest I might have zoned out, but I can't recall all of it. But I do want to say on that point that I also made a proposal and it was supported by a majority of the members. And the request was not that we make decisions or anything like that. It was also not that we discard legal opinions completely, but it was what my colleague so eloquently put, that the content advisor at least gives us a briefing, because that's the purpose of this meeting, is to give all of us who are new on this committee some background on exactly what this implies, and so that we can discuss and develop our thoughts. When we get the legal opinions, we'll develop our thoughts a bit further, and then in the beginning of the year, next year, we can actually make a well-informed decision. So the request is simply that the content advisor takes us through this, that when we have questions or inputs or thoughts, that we can express them, and that we then, on that basis, take it forward. So, and that was a proposal that was also supported, but the difference is that was supported by a majority of the members.
That was my earlier proposal, if you can recall very well. Yes.
Same
Mr.
page.
Peter, can we, you finished? So can we wrap this up? Mr. Kono, you say you're ready to proceed? Can we proceed? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Through you, Chairperson. Thank you very much, members, for your input. So basically, my role is to brief the members on the content of what we receive, and that is what I've done. And then thereafter, members would then want to directly interact with the people who've made these submissions. That was also done, as I've noted that there were hearings, and I noted where there were hearings. Following that, members felt that still, after hearing from the public submitters, they couldn't make a decision. They want to hear from legal advisors before they say, is this feasible or not? However, I do want to guide members and say that this kind of deliberation is what the work of the committee actually is. We are taking extensive notes on what members are saying. However, before I make an input with regard to a matter having been dealt with already, it needs to come from the members directly, that us as Parliament, we have dealt with this in such and such a way, and then we document that, and then we write back to the submitters to say, Parliament feels that this portfolio committee has dealt with this in this particular way, and therefore it can also eliminate the need to hear all of the legal opinions. However, the legal opinions have been prepared for each and every one of these. But if members feel, wait a minute, we don't need to actually hear a legal opinion on this particular matter because we've dealt with it, that needs to be noted. And it's not a decision per se. The decision is only made once this entire process of these 10 has been looked at. And also the honourable members' inputs that you gave about hearing the legal opinions, that would actually be courteous because they have been prepared, and it actually gives members more information to deliberate upon when they're making the decision. But where there are straightforward matters, where members feel that matters have been dealt with, we can definitely note that as guiding the decision of whether a matter is feasible or not. So members, if we look at on page 3, if we look at Sageliga Business League and what they've proposed to this committee, if the members are having a look at the first section that is being proposed there and what is being said by this particular business league, members then just need to give their input, and in the form of deliberations, how do they feel about that the fact that Section 1A read together with Section 22A, 22 on the freedom of trade and occupations and Section 1C on the rule of law must permeate any legislation and regulations promulgated by government. It is evident that this has not happened. This is what they're saying. It has happened in legislation such as the National Minimum Wage Act, and would never have been enacted if this was actually done. So members need to just give us their input, and then we note what members, how they feel. And then we eliminate some of this work, and thereby getting to a process where we're processing the submissions. This is the actual work of the committee. And then where members feel still they want to actually hear the legal opinions, they are there, they are ready, and the legal advisors do join us, and they will brief us extensively as well on how they feel the law stands on certain matters, and then members thereafter again will then make their decision based on that input. Thank you, Chairperson.
Mr. Konda.
No, thanks, Chair. I'm not too sure whether I'm the one who's confused, but the earlier submissions, which I support, was that let's get those legal advices because they were given to the previous committee, so that for us to make our own determination will be informed by those legal advices, but we'll make our own political considerations. Now that these legal advices are not here, so I don't know how we're going to proceed to make a determination. So I think it takes us back to the question that can't we wait, give us those legal advices, we consider them, then when we come back early next year, we'll be making our determination. For now, I think the exercise is not going to assist us.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Konda.
you.
The decision has already been taken that we will proceed, and we will proceed. If you feel you can't contribute anything at this time, that's fine. There are other members who can and will. The legal advice will be mailed to you. You can read it, and if you have submissions after you've read it, you can make them at the next meeting. But for today, the decision has been made that we're going to proceed. And so there's really no point in going back to that point constantly.
Can you clarify me, Chair? If you can. What are we proceeding with?
Mr. Konda, if you just stay with us, you'll see what we're proceeding with. I think it's very clear what we're proceeding with. Mr. Michelot.
Thank you, Chair. Just on the first point, the submission by Sakaliga, which you've just taken us through, was there at any point during those discussions the point raised, as my colleague indicated earlier on, that there is a constitutional process already in place, that if the constitutionality of a certain bill is questioned, that there are already certain mechanisms of recourse to challenge that? Has that been discussed in the submissions that were made, and was that part of the deliberations during the previous round? I just want to get some clarity on that. Thank you.
So, Honourable Member, because the submission came in this format, this is merely a summary of the wording of what was written in the submission. There has not been that discussion. This particular business league was not invited to public hearings, so we could give them feedback in that respect. Members are briefed merely on the content of what the people have submitted to us, and this is what they've said. So if there are constitutional provisions that speak to this, because these people are saying inside the actual constitutional booklet, they're not speaking of any bill or anything that has gotten to that stage, but they're saying there's no clarity in the actual constitution. Can we make clarity with regard to this particular point? So that is why part and parcel we actually call them in, because then they also elucidate as to exactly what they want to see changing, because what they want to see changing is not in national legislation. What they want to see changing is an amendment of the constitution itself, based on there not being enough clarity on a particular provision that is in the constitution.
Mr. Palmer, can you tell us whether there is a legal opinion on this matter?
Yes, Chair. Affirmative. Every single one of these 10 submissions that are presented on have already have legal opinions. However, we did not have a meeting where we could be briefed by the legal advisors, but these opinions have been ready for a while now.
Okay. So you will supply those legal opinions to all the members?
They normally, Chairperson, they don't say, the legal advisors don't send them to the committee. They first present them to the committee, and then the committee will then have them just before they present. But I can definitely get copies of them because they are ready. But because they had not come to brief the committee as they normally do, they had not sent them as yet. They just indicated to us that they're ready and they're waiting for the committee to sit so that they can come brief us. So they are obtainable.
I think it would be helpful if the committee have them prior to the briefing in any event, so you can send them.
Absolutely.
Mr. Kaunda.
Thank you, Chair. I think I am now clarified that legal opinions are not available for today's consideration. So therefore, I submit that we can't proceed with the first item and the other items if there is no legal opinion given to us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Konde. We've already dealt with that point. Mr. Peter. I think, just a moment, Ms. Duplessis. Yeah, Mr.
Co-chairs, please correct me if I'm going down the wrong passage or road here. However, if I look at the first submission and do very quick cursory research, Chapter 8 of the Constitution defines the role of the Concord quite specifically with regards to legislation. And again, I could be misreading the first question. And to me, there's no amendment to the Constitution necessary proposed unless I'm missing it, and those are the questions I'd like to ask today. That it's not, that it makes sense going forward that we have some of these conversations. So again, I'd like to question. So Chapter 8 is very specific about the role of the Concord in relation to legislation and regulations that do not comply or are not aligned to the Constitution of South Africa. Am I reading that correctly? I just want to see. Sorry.
Okay, so the content advisor will not be able to venture an opinion on that, but you are in fact reading it correctly. Mr. Michalakis?
Thank you, Chair. I don't think I should take us back. It's fine. I have asked my question. It was more based on the other comments that were made. I'm not going to take the committee back.
Chairperson, co-chair, you see, I think we are moving like a circle in terms of our approaching this matter. And also what I will appeal that to all members, if we approach them, if they raise question, whatever, we must treat them the way we're supposed to treat them, including the content advisor and the secretary. That if a person is seek for clarity, we must address it in a proper way, not in a way, such way that it will antagonize the person not to participate, etc. Then to come to the reality of it. I think honorable members, as we said, not to say that we are scared to continue about this matter. We are ready to stay even up until 10 o'clock at night. We are not rushing to a court. But the reality is that what we thought is that it will be proper for us maybe to get the copies. Because the thing is this, people on the back of our mind, we mustn't forget that we are dealing with the job, with the work which is already there, which was done by some people, not the work which is being started by us. So it is proper to get exactly where they ended so that we can start where they ended. We continue with the matter. I don't know whether my point is you see, my colleague there, you were right. You are still right even now, all of you, to say that the matter is like this. Is that I think we are seeking a method or a system to check exactly where are we starting, how are we footing down in order to take the matter forward. For me, for my proposal was that if I was referring to the legal background, I mean, we didn't say that, I didn't say that we are running away, that we can't discuss this matter. But it's proper to get relevant information and relevant documents in front of us so that we compare that this thing, I have taken this from this level, it was left in this level, and then we take it out. All right, I do understand the issue that is, like in the past, they never do 1, 2, 3. No, we can't die for the sins of the people in the past. Now, when your blood is here, we wanted it to take the bull by its horn. But it's better to be empowered to get exactly that this process was taken from this level to this level. And then for us, we are going to take it from this level to this level. That's what I was saying. Like the way you try to respond it correctly so. And also it goes back to that, we don't say that we demanded legal people to come in. No. Let's get some of their response that, like now we do have this, which was the request, maybe the public opinion and some of the submissions. But the other level then, what happened? What happened? So that we can know exactly where do we start. Thank you.
Mr. Michalakis?
Thank you, Chair. Now I have something to say. Firstly, I was not antagonized by you not to say anything. I decided not to take the committee back because enough people have. So I'm not that easily antagonized, firstly. And secondly, I would have indicated that that was not the experience that I had from the chairperson. I want to make that very clear. The second thing is, Chair, I have questions on these things. I, for one, can think without a legal opinion. And I'm sure many of my colleagues can as well. We have questions today. We want to ask them, then go back to the legal opinion, and we want to be able to ask them. Now, if other members don't feel that they can make a contribution, as you've indicated, then they don't need to. But I would like to appeal to the members in this committee to allow me to exercise my right to ask these questions without interruption and without being taken back every single time. We're not rushing it. In fact, this committee has, for the last 10 years, never even had a sniff of being rushed. But the point is that I have a right to ask questions in this committee, and taking us back every single time to why we are asking these questions, I'm asking these questions because it's my job, and I want to be able to ask these questions. So can we please move forward, and can I, for one, be allowed to ask the questions that I want to ask? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kawunda, if you have anything new to add, please go ahead and add it. If you want to reiterate your point you have already made, then please understand that we've covered them. Go ahead.
No, thanks, Chair. I think as members of this committee, our rights are equal. Those who still want to participate, they must be allowed. Those who still want to be clarified on what is happening just now and what do we aim to achieve with this exercise. You see, Honorable Du Plessis raised something which is critical. She says that the first item, she thinks that maybe it's not our competence as this committee, maybe it's the Constitutional Court. So, and you correctly said, Chair, you said, no, the content advisor can't respond to that. So it actually tells us that when you are dealing with the constitutional matters, the Constitution is the supreme law. But when we deal with constitutional matters, you need somebody with legal competencies to advise us as a committee. So now we'll keep on referring to her, then you'll respond, she's not qualified to give that response. So that's why we said there's no rush. So if you are saying I'm taking you back, that means the decision that you have taken before, it's wrong to proceed without the legal advisor. Because we'll keep on saying, no, we must keep that for the legal advisor to come. And she has responded because my question was, can she tell us what was the legal advice on the first matter? She said she's not capable to give us that because we need to wait up until we meet with the legal advisor. On the previous matter, we are not dealing with the new matters here. We are dealing with the 6 administration matters, of which legal advices were provided. So we
Mr.
just
Kawunda,
need
I'm
that.
sorry to interrupt you, but you really are taking us back. I respect your view, I really do. And
Okay.
you have every right to either participate or not participate. It's entirely up to you. But the majority of the
I
members...
know, Chair. It's
the
fine,
majority
Chair.
of the
I'm not
members-
participating in something which is not clarified. Thank you.
You're free to do so, Mr. Konda, as you wish. Mr. Peter, did you have something to add?
And there was no.
Would you like to put it to the vote, Mr. Konda?
If you are moving with that spirit on the first meeting, I don't think it will be working.
Sorry.
Mr. Peter?
Sorry. Before Mr. Peter. Mr. Kawenda, Honorable Kawenda,
Yes.
may I please sit down? Yes. You see, let me start by saying that even from us as chairperson, we must mind how we share the meeting. And even to you as members also, we are one family. When we were being voted here, we were voted by different political parties, but they've put us in one house. We are one family. We must tolerate each other. We must also teach each other. And I don't think our first mesh can start like this. No, it can't start like this. And I'm kneeling down, as I indicated earlier on, to request you guys that you see, this work was done by some people. We must be updated where we are in which level. But also, I appeal ourselves to cool down. Because people at home, they are watching at us, and the world somewhere is watching at us. There are a lot of people who have an interest with activities which are taking place in South Africa. Not even South Africans alone. So let us have an amicable approach, how to approach our things. That's what I wanted to appeal. Ourselves, we must control our emotions. Ourselves must approach each other with a correct manner. As I indicated earlier on, that we mustn't push the people up until we antagonize the people not to participate anymore. This is not a time where we take it or leave it. No, we are one family. I never sang for you the belated happy birthday. I'm still coming for the belated happy birthday because this was just the day as one family. So that is my appeal. Co-chair, please, man, let us not sink the ship. Let's make us the ship to sail in a proper way. We are from different families as well, but here we are one family, not us. The majority of the people took a decision that they are making us one family. So one family. Let's come to the political matters as well as this document. I think let us not fight over the procedure, who's supposed to start like what. As I indicated earlier on, it doesn't change. That let's have an amicable solution about how to approach this matter. Because this matter needs some of the steps. Some of the honorable members, they indicated that they wanted clarity over this and this and this. Not to say that we are failing to take decision. We can take decision now, not tomorrow. For an example, for me, if you are taking the thing of Swahili, I can start. You see all the stuff continuously. But that is not the case. The case is that how do we take this matter forward? Because another thing, if we're doing procedurally, it's supposed to take step by step that with number one, where is it? How was it far? Number two, how is it far? Number three, how is it far? We don't just generalize. if we wanted to achieve our goal. That is my appeal. Sorry, Kawunda.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Maybe let me apologize for standing up without clarifying my position. Chair, I feel surprised in a meeting where the exercise which we are conducting, I see it being fruitless if we don't have adequate tools before us to conduct the same exercise. But if members feel that because today there's no quorum, there's no decision that will be taken whether this matter we are proceeding with it or we are not proceeding with it. So I feel that instead of me seated here keeping quiet without being effective, so it's better that I leave the meeting up until the meeting which will be correcting where the decisions will be taken. I'll be fully participating and making my own self effective in that meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kaunda. I regret that you feel that way because I do believe that you can make a contribution to this meeting without the legal advisors. Everybody will have a discussion. You can hear what the views of your other members are. And from those views will help shape your views when you read the legal advice. So it will, I think, place all the members, all of us, in a better position to deal with the information that we will receive. But if you feel that the committee at this point is wasting your time, then I apologize for that. Thank you, Mr. Peter. We're all members of Parliament. We all have a job to do. And the members who arrived today clearly take their job seriously. I don't know why the other members are not here. Some of them have made apologies, and we understand the reasons for those. Why the other members are not here, I don't know. And we have no guarantee, Mr. Peter, from experience. 10 years of experience on this committee. We have no guarantee that other members will ever arrive. This committee has a history of never corating. And this committee, therefore, has a history of constantly postponing the business. You'll see from this table, just look at the table before you. And look at the first submission. It was made in 2021. We're now in 2024. It hasn't been dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. The second submission was made in 2021. The public hearings were held in 2023. And it still hasn't been dealt with. So we can't, as this committee, again, kick the can down the road. We're not going to get any work done. So you have all taken the trouble to show up here today, for which everybody is very grateful. Let us hear each other, our ideas. We don't have to take a decision. But I'm sure you have ideas on what is said here. I'd like to hear them, and I'm sure the other members want to hear them. And then when we get the legal opinion, we'll factor these ideas that we've exchanged today into those legal opinions, let them shape those ideas, and we'll be able to, at the next meeting, make constructive suggestions as to what we do with these matters so that they finally get dispatched. That we either deal with them in a fashion that requires them to go to the National Assembly for a decision, or we say that this matter cannot be dealt with in this committee, and we enumerate the reasons why not, and let the person who made the submission know why not, so that they can finally be dealt with. But we're talking about people who made submissions in 2021, Mr. Peter. We're not serving the public by kicking the can down the road another one time. We really are not. And we can't be expected to be taken seriously as a committee if we always want to just wait. And Mr. Michalakis makes the point that we don't always need legal opinions. We're very lucky that in all of these 10 we will have legal opinions. But in all of the submissions made in the future for this committee, we won't have them at every time. The legal advisors cannot give us a legal opinion on every single submission made. They don't have the time. And some of them don't require it. So we're going to have to learn together, to learn from each other, and exercise our minds with regards to some of these submissions on our own. And I suggest the best time to do that is to start now. We're here. We're all here. We all have submissions to make. We all have inputs to give. I would like to hear your submissions. I'm sure that your inputs will help me shape my views on these submissions. So unless you have a serious issue with that, both you and Mr. Koenda, I would like to hear the other inputs, and I don't honestly know why you wouldn't. But you're free to, make your own decision in that regard. The chairpersons of this committee are not here to tell you what to do. We're here to chair the meeting. You, the members, are here to make the inputs. Michalakis, did you have something to add?
Chair, I just want clarity because I've gone through some of these submissions. I have now dealt with the first one. My question is just in terms of the procedure, because the inputs that I have to make on the others are fairly brief. Should it be made as one, or are we going to take them one by one? I will be very brief if I make my inputs on all of them together, but I need guidance from you as the chairs, please.
And I think the other members may also have inputs and submissions, so perhaps we should do them one by one, but it should be very quick. And some members may have no submissions, and that's fine. But some of these matters, can be dispatched of very, very easily. For instance, the appointment procedure of the National Director of Public Prosecutions, I think it's the one by the African Criminal Justice Reform. At this point, when this submission was made, I presume that there was nothing in the pipeline. But I can assure the members of this committee that there is, in fact, a National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Act being drafted as we speak that's served before the Justice Committee that deals with this precise issue. So there's no real need for this committee to continue forever with this on its books. So, for instance, those inputs will be useful. So if members have inputs, please give them.
Co-Chair, I want you to appeal once more. You see, let us not make a mistake. I agree your feeling. I agree 100% that this matter is from 2021 and like. I don't want to make an example. Like, let me be out of order then. The issue of the land issue is from 19-something, 1912, before we were born, even before my father was born. If we approach things, we must approach things in a proper way. Like, my understanding to the other members who are differing with our approach like today They are not saying that we mustn't deal about this matter, but they are saying, give us arms so that we know exactly that the process in the, okay. So that because the process in the past started like here, we didn't know that it ends whatever. That is the only different issue. They didn't say that we mustn't deal about this matter. So my appeal is that let us maybe give some people also the hearing on their on this matter, because this matter is saying we ought to be careful as well that decisions which affecting the constitution of the country, it got an embedding or implication in the lives of the people outside there. Therefore, it needs all of us, when we take some of these decisions, we make sure that we are well equipped. By well equipped, it's simple. You used to have some of these things, because the thing which is raised by the honorable members here is part of the public hearing, that there was a public hearing, and then some people responded like this in terms of the logistic and the procedures and the protocol. Because we must follow the protocol. We are the, you are right, Chairperson, we are the people who are supposed to take decisions. But at the end, not like this. No, I totally disagree with it. Let's be armed. Let us be armed first. Get this proper. Because remember, some of the things which we are doing is recorded. I don't want to be misquoted in the future. That you were there, but the decision which you taken was misinformed. That is the only thing which the other members are crying for. So, as chairperson, it's true that we must also give hearings. It's true. I do support that. But let us not take these things for granted, because these things can haunt us in the future. Remember, earlier on, we agreed that we are not taking decisions. But now it seems that we want to take decisions while we are not fully armed about our decisions which we wanted to take. Over to you.
Mr. President?
Thank you very much, co-chairs. I just want to start off with a point of clarity. Honourable Kuhunda, I didn't ask that question because I didn't know the answer. I asked it so we can start opening a discussion. And I think as members of parliament, we do come armed. We come with the knowledge of the Constitution, and also should you have your laptop with you, you can do very quick cursory searches and get additional information. And one of the big competencies of when, and it's just a suggestion, and I have to, because it's not wanting to be confrontational, it's wanting us to get to a point that we move forward on these conversations. Our role as a joint committee is to have discussions on constitutional amendments, which means before you come to a joint committee, do a little bit of research. That's my suggestion, and I think it's not that we're making decisions, we are making conversations and learning on the way in some of these things. So I also at the risk of being slightly controversial, would like to point out Rule 14F in the joint rules. And it says, it talks about repetition of arguments, and a lot of the arguments have been repetitive. We are an hour and a half in, and I want to give a little bit of context at the risk of being maybe emotive, but I had to cancel going to a hospital with an activist who's been going for operation after operation after operation, and I had to go with to assist to find out what the prognosis is. And for an hour and a half, we've been arguing semantics. And the role of this joint committee is to have a discussion. Researcher made it very clear that we do not need, in the joint rules, a quorum to have a discussion or to move forward. So I really would propose that we get clarity. Either we take a 2-3 minute break, come back and sit down and really decide or really determine this is the way forward. because we can't sit here and waste each other's time for an hour and a half. Thank you.
Well, before that, wait. You see, let's go to page 2 in the presentation of today. This one. You see, there is this thing which I wanted to propose now. If we were listening tentatively, this is part of the guidelines. How do we deal, how the process is working. Page 2, number 2 there, the committee reviews the constitution as follows. That's supposed to happen. That's what we are requesting, that's all. Honourable member, I'm serving with you and the NCOP. I think you are correct to raise your concern, the manner you put it. But we're not, our fact is based on the document which was presented to us about the procedure. Number 1, they are say briefing by the content advisor on this. Number 2, presentation by the submitters to the committee to clarify the proposal made for their submission. Number 3, legal advisors is here. You see, that's what we're saying. Because my take concerning the document, the guidelines, how it's supposed to go, is there. Because today they gave us some of the presentation from the content advisors. And it need number 3, which legal advisors to do this. Number 4, which the committee is supposed to take decisions. What I'm clarifying is not from my head, but is from what was presented to us as guidelines, so how it's supposed to see. You see, honorable colleague from NCOP, it doesn't mean that we don't consult, we don't check the constitution. No, we do. But as I indicated also, that we don't need skeletons at our back. We're supposed to take it to the proper way. Here's the guidelines where it's supposed to happen. Kaunda.
Thank you, Chair. I think we must understand each other here. I'm the chair of the select committee. I prepared thoroughly before my committee. So I don't think that we have prepared for this committee. Because if we have conducted adequate preparations, we were supposed to ensure that this is the first meeting. The legal advisor is present. Because you can't deal with constitutional matters, which is the law. The Constitution is the supreme law. Then without the legal advisor, especially to make a determination on the matters that are presented before us. There's a level of preparation. So you prepare before you come to a meeting. So now we are not prepared because we are asking simple question. On the first item, can you advise us what was the legal advice on this matter so that when we take a decision or we make a determination, we know exactly what we are moving towards to. So now we are told we're supposed to wait up until we get a legal advisor to come before this committee and present before us the legal advices. So why are we proceeding? Are we blaming ourselves because we have taken a decision that we must proceed? So we are forcefully proceeding because we think that we have wasted time for coming here. I think my view is that we did not waste our time. We have done what we're supposed to do in this meeting to get the presentations, to be given what are the responsibilities of the committee. So there's no wastage. So in the next meeting, Chair, we are going to make our determination. We are going to make our views heard. So we can research, we've got that capacity, we've got all our gadgets before us, we can do whatever that, but we are not ready for what we have decided to do for today. So that is my submission, Chair, but I think that members feel that they've wasted their time to come here. We've done what we're supposed to do. Introduction was done, presentation was done, so next meeting we'll be making our determination. But if members still insist that they want to sit here and ask themselves questions which they do not have answers on, it's fine. You can proceed with that. I think that's where I view that we'll be wasting our time. I don't even need a break to think about that. Whether do I need to remain here and waste my time or not to waste my time. So I think we have done for the purpose of today, and the level of preparation was that if the chair is saying legal advisors are working to other committees as well to assist other committees, but we prepare. We know when is the date of the meeting. Let us make sure that there is a legal advisor when we meet in January, because we'll need the legal advisor to be present in the meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kaunda. Mr. Michalakis, did you have anything you wanted to add? Not. Okay, can we take a view on who wants to proceed and make their submissions and who feels that they cannot make even cursory inputs on the material already provided? Who wants to proceed? Who feels they can make no submissions? Okay. So, Mr. Kunda, I see that you feel that you can't contribute now. I'm sure that you actually can. I'm sure that if you look at the submissions made, that you will have thoughts that could benefit the other members. But if you don't want to do that, you know, you're a member of parliament, you have a mind, and you're a chair of another committee, and you've taken a view. I accept it. If you don't want to listen to the other people's inputs, that's entirely up to you. But I'm not, Chair, I don't know, what do you want to do?
Chairperson, sorry, my proposal, let us adjourn the meeting so that all these relevant things which we have requested to come forward, so that we can be equipped about what is necessary. Because, as I indicated, even myself, like you indicated that you have an experience of 10 years that this committee didn't sit. Myself, I do have an experience whereby some of the things were being challenged. That why you made this was a mistake. Take it back. You see? Myself, I stick to the documents which is presented to us, which having the guidelines that we must wait for this and this and this and this, and then I propose that we adjourn the meeting.
Mr. Michalakis?
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, if that is the route that we go, then I do want it on record that I am not satisfied, that I have been deprived an opportunity as a representative of at least 40,000 voters, because that's what every member of parliament represents, of representing those voters today. And I want it on record. I'm not satisfied because I wanted to do my job and I couldn't, because I have been prevented for the whole duration of this meeting from actually representing my constituents. That's the first thing. So if we go down that route, I want that on record. The only other thing that is left is for me to thank you as the chairperson for trying your best to allow us to ask those questions. But it's very disappointing that I've been deprived the opportunity to perform my work today. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Michalakis. Ms. Sabin? Your mic is on. Do you want to say something?
No, once again, move to a 40 mic.
Okay. All right. Mr. Kaunda, you have something to add?
Yes, Chair. Can I also request that my view is recorded, that the level of preparedness for this meeting was not in a stage which has enabled us to proceed in a normal way. If you look at the first item that we were discussing, there was no way forward on it. We are now on the second item because we couldn't make any determination on that item on the basis on the lack of adequate preparation. So I suggest that my view is recorded, that I'm not defying the meeting. I'm a member who came early because I understand my responsibilities and my duties, but now I can't be helped in this meeting because the level of preparations were not adequate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kaunda. That view is, I think, adequately recorded several times. And again, I thank you for coming to the meeting. And yes, you were here early. And we're all grateful for those members who did attend. I think let's, under the circumstances, then adjourn the meeting. We'll have the legal advisor ready in January. I suspect that there will be no more members at that meeting than there are at this one. And I suspect that we will have a lot of difficulty taking decisions if that is going to be the way that members want this meeting to proceed. But it's a matter that I'll take up with my co-chair and we'll take a decision.
Chairperson, before.
Mr. Pinon had his hand up. Sorry, Mr. Pinon.
Sorry.
No, thank you, Chair. I was just maybe requesting, is it possible for us to have another meeting next week, Friday? And in the meantime, our colleagues can prepare with the legal opinions in the inboxes. Thank you. Just a request. Thank you.
So I'll discuss it with my co-chair and we'll see what's available. Thank you, Mr. Pinon.
Chairperson, also I will do support your proposal because I'll talk to, because it depends sometimes the availabilities of the people from the NA and also from the NCOP. But also, I wanted maybe to hint to this one. Colleagues, we didn't come up with the program, the proposed program, because the secretary can draft the program. But if it's not adopted by us, it won't materialize. Therefore, I will suggest that we also interact, co-chair, about the issue of our program, because the program will be giving the guidance to the members to how to prepare themselves in their different committees, different work, so that they plan for this meeting. So, by saying that, I would like to also to thank members who troubled themselves to come, and also to apologize for the sum of inconveniences which we have experienced today. I think that was the learning curve. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.